Have I gotten a new hobby? Yes. Have I been spending way too much money than I should on it? Yes. But am I having fun with it? Absolutely yes. Hello and thank you for tuning in for this new video series. I don't really know where this is going yet, but as you can see here, there's a big thing in front of me and I am going to talk about it. This is indeed my new hobby, and this right here is my very first 10 scale rock crawler. Yes, it has started with the SCX24, the tiny little one, but after that really quickly, I really enjoyed the scale look of the rock crawler and how much RC had gone. Back in the day, I had been into RC cars with Tamiya products, mostly road cars, then got into a little bit of buggies, but since then, I pretty much stopped for over a decade. And I'm always curious because I know LiPo had gone a long way, and I figured I really need to look back into RC car again. And that's when my friend talked to me about these little 24 scale rock crawlers. So I got one for Christmas and I was very, very impressed of how much it can do. And I really try very hard to make it scale looking. What that means is I want to make it look like a real car. But as you all know, 24 scale is pretty small. Mini Z have really nice renditions of the bodies. That looks fantastic, but the Axial SCX24, being a polycarbonate body, you can only add so many 3D printed parts on there to make it look great. However, when I discovered the fact that there is hard body for 10 scale rock crawlers, immediately I know I have to build one. And that is why you see this right here is the SCX-10-2. Now, when I was going into this, I was really looking for a platform that have a lot of customizations, a lot of support parts, and the Axial SCX24 really fits the bill. It sort of sit right in the middle, but it have a lot of parts. It's not as expensive as TRX4, and it's a little bit better than some of the off-brand products that doesn't have a lot of support part just yet. So the SCX-10-2 become a natural choice when I get to start building this piece. And I also know that I want to build a hard body. So I don't really want to get like a kit with the pre-painted body or one that will come with like a clear body that I have to put on it. I know immediately I want to get a hard body, so I want a platform that I can build with. And I'm so new to the 10 scale rock crawler, not just the SCX-10-2 itself, but the platform entirely. So I don't really know where to start when I'm just like shopping for random parts. So I started with the SCX-10-2 Raw Builders Kit. And that is a kit that's completely unassembled. You have to cut things off of spruces, you have to put screws together, and you basically build the whole chassis. And it only comes with the chassis, there's no electronics, no transmitters, no body. It doesn't even have tires or rims, so you even have to get those, which is perfect because I want this look and I know I want to get some nice wheels with it. So this becomes the perfect candidate for me to start building. Let's really kind of get into it. This is such a huge project for a first-time builder. Saying that is because I made two mistakes. First of all, when I shop for this body, I want a D90. This is the Land Rover Defender. The D90, which means is a 90-inch wheelbase on the real car. And there's a longer version, which is 110, and then have a really long version, which is 130. If I had chosen the 110, that will fit perfectly on a 313 millimeter wheelbase. However, since I wanted a D90, it has a truncated body in the back since it's missing two doors. It's a shorter body, a shorter cap. So it's only fit on a 285 mil wheelbase, ideally 280. But the Raw Builders Kit have 3 different length settings for the rear end. So you can actually shorten the wheelbase of the vehicle from 313 to 305 to 285. So this is what I end up using. I just used the shortest pairs of links in the back, and here it is. But even with that, there is still a lot of problem fitting this hard body on it. I realized that problem when I was watching some YouTube videos, because there are actually so many variations of the D90 hard bodies out there. And I didn't know that. Originally I felt like I like Killer Body as a manufacturer, Killer Body as a manufacturer. And if I have gotten that body, there will be something in the back here that will be intruding into the motor and the transmission of the SCX-10. Somehow, this version that I gotten, they actually have a raised bed in the back, so it clears it, and I don't have to do too much to relocate the motor to the front. I have full intentions of relocating the motor to the front and the transmission in the lower for like a scale transmission, but right now it's actually running the stock SCX-10-2 transmission and motor positions right in the middle of the car with the raised bed. It just go over it. But in the back, I will show you in a second that I have to do some changes to the rear suspension. So overall, this is the hard body of the D90. As I mentioned, this is actually a no-name brand. It's not the Killer Body version, but I was really impressed with the details and the engineering that had gone into making this hard body. And I'll show you all that in a second. But you can just see here, it comes with these fender flare that is slightly rubberized texture. Of course, the body itself. All these windows are pop in separately so I can paint them. Like, all these pieces are very modular. The doors are operable. You can actually open them. And then you have like the interior inside. You have the dashboard. It's not an accurate dashboard for a D90, especially from the 80s era, but the steering wheel is correct. And there's 2 seats in there, and it's really nice. In the back, there's this door you can open, and here there's a cargo area. And I have something really exciting that I'm doing in the cargo area. The parts is coming in next week, and I can't wait to show you what that is going to be. It's going to transform this experience entirely, and I'm very excited. Passenger side, this is being a right-hand drive vehicle. This will be the passenger side. The interior is very nicely done. I have rearview mirror, have like the little shiny chrome piece in there. It's actually, I was kind of skeptical because I never really bake on chrome parts. And even though it's a mirror, I'm not really sure how that works, but for the scale look of it, actually, when you're like running trail with this kind of reflecting some stuff in the background, this actually looks really cool. Now in the front, this is also operable, and I actually mount my on-off switch right here in the trunk area. So every time when I plug in my batteries, I just have to lift my hood and turn my cars on. There's ample amount of area in here that I can fit a front mount motor with a scale motor cover and also a scale transmission right in the middle. It comes with a set of magnets, but I have to add 2 more to actually make it work so I can close in the latch. It comes with really nice light details. It's already have the LED housing mount in there, so as long as you got like a set of LEDs, or if you just want to make your own out of 5 mils, they already have the retention spot for it. I have a lighting kit coming in, also should be coming in next week. So this is what I consider completing the phase 1 of the project. The whole car is complete, all the bumpers are in place, and it's obviously operable. But from now on, I'm going to go into phase 2 of upgrading this piece with more scale details and also a lot of performance parts. But let's go back into the vehicle itself. So in the front, you're going to see a metal bumper, and this is of course a style that actually modeled after the Land Rover Defender, both the 90 and the 110 variants. So this fits around this headlights really nicely. And right here, you can see a very cool little detail. It's the Land Rover badge. I ordered that from the Racing Club. They also have this somewhat raised up, it's not extremely raised up, but it's slightly raised up Defender metal stickers right here. And on the back, that is coming from the same set, is the little metal badge for the Land Rover D90 right here. I still need to add a license plate, but as well as a bunch of other decals, but those all have to be custom made, and I'll be working on them very soon. In the back here, there is a metal bumper as well. This is a KYX Racing rear bumper. It doesn't have any rear latch or anything, but however, it does come with a set of LED. I've not put it in yet because I'm just going to run one of the LED from my lighting kit to the back as a backup light. But this metal bumper is really nice. The finish is fantastic. It's have a really thick paint to it, which on the other hand, on the front bumper, it is only powder coated. One of the big challenges I also faced when I was building this is to fit the front and rear bumper correctly. The D90 have such a short body, it's actually really hard to find a bumper that will not push out too forward. So this bumper post has been trimmed down tremendously to kind of pull it as close as it can, but you can still see a pretty big gap here. And that is why I have actually contacted KYX Racing, and they're sending me a separate set of bumper posts, which is actually currently being used by the rear bumper. The rear bumper on the frame actually sits immediately where the body stops. So I need a really, really short bumper post to mount this piece. And this bumper is actually originally designed for the SCX-10 III. However, with the really short bumper post that they use, it's actually perfect for my build. And I contacted KYX Racing, and they're really kind that they're sending me a separate set of front bumper posts so I can also push this back in just a little bit more. These wheels are fantastic. I love them. They're metal bead locks. They have the polished metals finish between the black coating. And for the tires, they're BF Goodrich KO2s, and they're licensed by Proline Racing with their G8 compound. They're extremely sticky, really grippy. I was washing them today actually before this video after I went on the trail today, and you can feel them. They're how sticky they are. So I think they're actually performing really well. However, since they're supposed to be a really good rock crawling tires, even though in real life they're all-terrain tires, but with the G8 compound, they're fantastic for rock crawling. I'm actually considering to change them out for something that's a little bit more casual. These tires were not the cheapest thing. All four of them comes about to be $70. So I'm considering buying some cheaper tires to put on them. So when I run on trails and just kind of cruising along, it won't really wear out my rock crawling tires. And of course, tires are really important. And just like any vehicles in the world, no matter how much power and how much control you're going to put into your vehicle, if you don't have good tires to contact the ground, because those are literally the 4 tiny little points to put this whole machine on the road surface. And if you don't have good rubbers, it does not matter what you put in the car. It's just not going to perform as you intended it to do. And also in here is a pair of rock sliders. They're metal tube style. I was worried about the clearance between the 2 tires with these rock sliders. However, they fit just perfectly in there. Nothing is rubbing, and I'm really, really happy. With all that being said, let's really dig into the vehicle. And the way how I remove this hard body, they are on magnetic mount. I just have to slightly lift the front, and that will release it. And you're gonna laugh at me here real quick because my solution to fit the back end onto the chassis is quite hilarious. Here we go, and there's the body off. And as you can see right there, there's a big metal tube. I actually have to put that at the bottom of the cargo area so I can put my 2 magnets on there, which matching to the mounting points off the frame. And also in the front, those are 2 mounts that come with the body, and I just put magnets on there to mount it into the frame. And here now the body is off. This is fairly standard from an SCX-10 II raw builder's kit. It's a little dirty, don't mind it, because it's been running on the trail for 3 times now. So let's start from the front. I put 2 Endura inner well fenders. However, in the back doesn't fit just because of the batteries in the way and also the cargo area that drops down from the body. It have a lot of problem fitting. I consider shaping it down to fit it in there, but I'll have to shave off so much, it's just not worth it. What I'm actually gonna do is once I have some time, I'll cut 2 pieces of styrene to block off that metal piece that you saw in the hard body. So that way things will look a little more scale. But I do want to showcase the KYX Racing cantilever shocks that I got here, and that is the solution that I have it work out so I can fit that hard body on top. Remember I was talking about a little bit of engineering have to gone into this to make it work. Originally the SCX-10 II have the rear shock tower comes up, and it's actually intruding into the hard body cargo area. Instead of cutting into the hard body, I decided to run a set of cantilever shocks. That way the cargo area can kind of comes down and sits nicely on top of this setup. And the articulation of these is actually fantastically well. It's just a short 70mm shocks in the back and then a cantilever hinge that is generating this pivot movement. And the front is running the standard shocks that come with the SCX-10 II kit. However, I do have a pair of KYX racing shocks that matches the rear. And then aside from that, the shock tower I have replaced to a Tyrrell or a Trurell metal shock towers. And in the front, I have a bumper mount with a servo relocation. So instead of the standard orientations of a servo, which run the long way of the vehicle, now it runs a short way of the vehicle. The electronics are pretty generic at this point. I'm only running a Hobbywing 1040 ESC, which is really basic. That is something to be upgraded down the road. And for the motor, since I know that I'll be running a really heavy body, this is actually a 550 class motor. It's 21 turn Traxxas, which actually you found those in the TRX4. Standard transmission, standard drive shaft, and everything else. The batteries has also been relocated to the back, so it's just a tray that I got to have the batteries mounted to the rear. Like I said, originally I have the intention to relocate the motor to the front with a scale transmission going in the middle, but now that I know the body actually fits just like this, I think I'm gonna keep it for a long way. That is such an expensive upgrade. I can do a lot more things to this vehicle, also starting up a second project instead of buying a scale motor in here. As far as the radio, I'm running a Spektrum DX5 Rugged. So the receiver that I'm running in here inside a receiver box is a SR515. It's a 5-channel receiver. The transmitter is 5 channels. So I have plenty of options when the light kit comes in. I can assign that to 1 channels, and also I'm planning on getting a winch as well. And the winch can go on to a separate channel as well. There's nothing really to talk about from the bottom. Links are standard right now from the Raw Builder kit. And the axles are also standard from the kit, so they're the plastic version from the SCX-102 Raw Builders kit. However, I do have KYX metal axles coming in, and that will be a complete performance overhaul along with a lot of Tyrrell's brass parts. As far as the rear bumper from KYX, I do have to do some customizations to cut out some slot in order for the body to fit. So now let me show you how this body is going to drop onto the chassis. There are 2 metal hooks in the back. I kind of have it lashed onto the cantilever shocks. And with the 2 cutout slots on the back bumper, they're actually pretty easy to align now. And I just kind of let the front end drop. And once it's starting to settle, I do have to open up the hood and have to pinch in the 2 front mounting posts so the magnet can fall into place. And that's how the body being installed. So one thing that I should show you is how this actually rests on the surface. Now, without the pit stand, this is how the car rests. These G8 compound tires are extremely squishy. They have a foam inserts in them already, and they're not vented. They're just secure on the bead lock. And I actually really like how the tires being squished in, so I don't think I'm gonna vent my tires. Since this is a trail running vehicle, I will run over water quite a bit, as I did today. So it's better to keep the tire seals instead of poking holes into it, since it's not gonna be doing any kind of major rock crawling activities. However, even with the car naturally sitting on a flat surface, you can see there are still some major gaps between the tires and the wheel wells. They are great for crawling, but for a more scale look, I think I'm actually gonna drop this down a little bit. Hence, once my new shock comes in, hopefully I can actually let it sit slightly lower onto the frame. So that is pretty much it about the D90 build that I've done with my SCX-102. As I said, I really enjoyed the whole process of putting the kits together, both of the chassis and the body itself. I think I'll also make a video in the future to talk about how I paint a hard body. I do have some scale model building experience from building Gunpla and scale cars, so it's cool to kind of translate those into painting an RC car body, especially for a hard body. It really, a lot of those skills really do apply when I was doing that. And like I've mentioned, this is only the phase 1 of this project. All the phase 2 parts are on the way coming right now. So hopefully within the next week or 2, all the parts will come in and I'll have them installed, and I'll give you guys another update for a new video. But right now, I'm really enjoying taking this car out on the trail. It's a ton of fun. And hopefully the rain will stop here pretty soon, so the ground will be a little bit drier and I can go on to more different locations for some rock crawling. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in for this video. Please feel free to click like and subscribe for this video. And if you have any comment about this build or any of your build in particular, feel free to leave a comment below. And in the meantime, go out there, take your favorite cars, go on the trail, start crawling a little bit, and I'll see you in the next video.